y'all need to stop that. You know, like it's just like, we just do that. And so it's hard because you never quite get to know the actual person all the time because you are looking at them as like the person that you saw on TV or the movie.
Right.
So for Diane Carroll, for me, Eve's Bayou is one of my favorite movies.
Oh, yes.
And so I consistently see her as that image.
With the white face.
Which is insane. With the white face, like always be that way. Like it's just so crazy. You know what I mean? Like I just see her as that. You know? For some of my friends, they're like, oh no, we know her from, I think it was a Dynasty, you know?
Yes.
And they know her for like shading about that champagne and the caviar and the whole thing.
For my niece, it was a different world.
She's
like, that's Whitley's mama. I'm like, yeah.
You're like, yes. You're like, yes. And so I do think it's interesting. You know, I've always been obsessed with, and the thing that I love the most about this book is there are these women throughout history that people have tried to make kind of like just these like sexualized, beautiful people, right? You have Halle Berry like a few months ago. She was like, I would like for someone to know me as something else other than pretty.
Please.
You know?
Can we?
And it's just, I always think that it is so interesting, women who kind of yield that power. Because, you know, Barry Gordy wasn't just there because he was trying to fight people. Like, I mean, Diane Carroll's it. She was it. And he was like, yeah, I'm trying to be in Diane's face.
Did I?
So like, you know, he wasn't, maybe not like that, but like,
no,
I mean,
like
she's
that,
gorgeous.
like
I want to be in Diane's face. I'd
like
be like,
that.
hi, Diane. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, it was like that. And so it is really interesting, you know, the Dianes, the Lena Hornes, the Josephine Bakers, right? These very gorgeous women who kind of yield their power for good, right? Who are like, I'm going to stand at the intersection of being like, and you don't see them being the organizers and strategists that they are, but they are, right?
Right.
And they kind of catch you off guard.
Yeah.
And I love that Diane decided to kind of pull together this group and have this party and have so many different people from all walks of life. I mean, we love Huey P. Newton now and think of him and revere him. It's my Aquarian brother. It is our season, but that's not the point. I won't get off of track, but you know, and we revere him now, right? Yeah. But like, honestly, back then people were like, those people are different than us. They got guns and they're trying to do the most. And I'm saying this, and my mom was a Panther.
Yeah.
And so like, you know, people were not really messing with them like that. It was like taboo to be on that side of things. And Berry Gordy very much so represented in many ways like an institution, right? He's like, Marvin Gaye, I don't want you to make your songs just look cute, be sexy. Don't come out here talking about what's going on. What's going on is these songs where you sexy. What you talking about? Like, you know, like, it's like, you know, but she kind of yielded this power to bring together this group. And I just wonder, like, what are the lessons for us, right? In a world where people are trying to make women, and particularly Black women, just like, you know, Jezebels and sapphires and kind of like caricatures of ourselves where we're not seen as fully human beings. As human beings. Someone could look at Diane Carroll and not see her as a full human being because she has this beauty that they like see her as an object, right? And everything is happening right now to try to move the legislation and the politics to make us these objects. What is it that we can learn, from this relationship?
I think two things that jump out, especially between Diane Carroll and Shirley Chisholm, is the willingness to be the first follower. As well as the intention behind the scenes as you're wielding that power. So on the intention, yes, we know Diane Carroll for these big roles. Dominique Devereaux, she went in there saying, I want to be the first Black bitch on television. So disabuse yourself of any limitations you think you can place on my character. And in fact, write her as a white man. That's how she went into that role.
Yeah.
Similar to Julia, the hit show that, let's be real, was a massive part of her crossover cultural appeal. She would strike lines from the script that she was like, this is a harmful stereotype. We're not talking about that. We're not doing that.
Yeah.
You will not let the lead doctor character talk to the nurse this way. Like, respect it. And she would be intentional behind the scenes so that when she did perform in the show and she did create that kind of cultural gravitas and pull audiences in, it was on her terms.
Yeah.
That behind the scenes work is critical because she doesn't get credit for co-writing any of those episodes. Yeah. She doesn't get credit for making directorial decisions, but she did.
Yeah.
So in movement work and organizing work, working behind the scenes without credit is a big, big part of that work too. Yeah. And the other part about being the first follower, Diane Carroll hosted this party at a moment when Shirley Chisholm was being clowned.
Yeah.
In the press. Mm-hmm. When they decided to cover her, they would diminish this as an egotistical exercise, a jut-jawed effort by her colleagues, especially members of the Congressional Black Caucus at the time, who wouldn't waste an opportunity in an interview with Jet Magazine or the New York Times to mock her.
Yeah.
They said, what do you think of Shirley Chisholm's run? Who is she? I don't know her.
Yeah.
Like, the disrespect was blatant. But Diane Carroll stepped up, used her star power to get positive press coverage, quotes in the LA Times about she believes in what Shirley Chisholm could do for this country. That prompted the viewers of Julia, her fans from theater and plays like No Strings, to pay attention in a way they hadn't before.
Yeah.
That was powerful because she was that visible public follower. Yeah. And so when there is someone that you see, whether it's community work or local politics, that you believe has something, be willing to be that first follower. Be willing to step out there with them when no one else is, because that is what will sustain them and help them push forward. But also opening your network, right? Like the fact that she could make that call. Yeah. The fact that she could call Flip Wilson and say, come on over. Of course, it helped that her ex-husband was his manager at the time. So it was clearly like in the family. Yeah. But what she did was open the door so that Shirley Chisholm could make the case. And after she made her case to Flip Wilson, he wrote a check. Yeah. Breaking his own rule to never publicly support a political candidate. Mm. So I think it's about that first follower and the behind the scenes work that we can truly learn from.
I love it. Yeah. Thank you. I want to talk about Shirley. And I think that, I call it Soror Chisholm because I'm a Delta.
I appreciate that
very much. Yes.
You
know, but for the sake of this, we'll call her Shirley Chisholm. I think that when you talk to people who know of her, they know her through her slogans, right? Mm-hmm. So unbought and unbossed. Yep. And
they don't bring a seat. Give you a seat at the table.
Bring a folding chair. And the folding chair sends me. Because I have a friend. Now.
There's some
I was like, that's Shirley calls it. What'd I say? You said that? Because Shirley called it. And I always think of that, like just the Montgomery bra and the folding chair. And I was like, well, sometimes you do have to bring a folding chair. You do. My friend has a little necklace and it has a little folding chair on it. And our friend Amber, and it's so funny, and it moves. Like, you'd be like, what is this? And it'll pop up and folds. And I'm like, Amber, you are so, what is this?
Can I ask Amber for the earring set?
Yeah, I love the earring set. I would text you the thing. I looked it up. I said, Amber, this little folding chair was expensive. I thought you got this off Etsy. She was like, Etsy? I was like, girl, what? She's like, you were so offended. Like, what? Anyway, it's a great necklace.
I love it.
It's a lady who you can buy them for like $300, $400, any necklace.
An investment piece.
And she gives it to organizations like nonprofits. So you can write the nonprofit you want it to go to. And then she donates the whole thing to that nonprofit. It actually is kind of cool. So, it's sweet. But anyway, she has this folding chair. And I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, how did Shirley Chisholm know that the folding chair was going to be like our unofficial mascot?
She called it. She called it. Ahead of her time.
She knew all the things. But she did kind of, have that energy, right? Like she had the vulnerabilities, but, she was kind of the definition of when Audre Lorde talked about being intentional and unafraid, right? Yes. And doing it scared anyway and showing up with that energy and telling women to show up with that energy. One of my favorite clips is, when she's like, you do the work,
women, you better wake up.
You better wake up, and it's so true. And, I'm just like, wondering, how do you feel in this moment, right? Mm-hmm. There are a lot of people who are like backing away from, they're calling it DEI, but it really just means Black. You know what I mean? And brown. Are white. Women, yes, white. Yes, and so it's, but that it is code, right? Yes. And there are words that are like that. Sometimes people use community and you're like, do you mean Black? Mm-hmm. What are these words we're using, right? And she was someone who stood up to the occasion and was shunned, right? As you talk about in the book. Yeah. She was shunned by tons of Black men. Yep. She was, of course, shunned by the white community, right? Yes. And I'm just wondering, like, in this moment where people may be pulling back from doing things that advance our community, right? What are some of the things from Shirley Chisholm that you've garnered from your research that can help us like stand in our resolution? Resolution and our revolution.
The first thing that comes to mind is be ready to welcome them back when the light clicks back on for them. And that's hard because I think I say hold on.
Now you leave the light on for you.
It's like it's multi-tiered. It's tiered with I'm sure y'all seen all the headlines post 2024 election about Black women taking a rest period.
Yes.
So that's some welcome them back when they're ready. I also see people who are flipping out after every executive order, realizing that, oh, this is going to impact me. Oh, you're going to take away my SNAP benefits. Oh, you're going to eliminate positions that were for civil servants in the federal government.
Yeah.
Staying open enough, because that's exactly what Chisholm was attempting to do with the coalition she was attempting to build, as imperfect as it was. And she knew it was imperfect.
Yeah.
And she accepted that imperfection all under the guise of returning power to the people when they were ready.
Yeah.
The most heartbreaking part of this book and the reality of her campaign is she knew she was never going to win. But she felt the need to be the one to break the ice first. Yeah. She felt the need to get the cuts and the scrapes and the bruises so the people could come after her. Like, and I'm talking about some of the same people who shunned her, like Jesse Jackson when he ran in 84 and 88, right? Like, don't
get me started on Jesse.
Like,
I'm a too.
It's that. And sadly, I think that's part of the self-sacrifice of being a Black person and a woman in this country.
Yeah.
But I also think one thing that she did not master that we can all learn from is to pause.
Yeah.
And to rest. Now, she did talk about how she leaned on the arts and poetry as a guiding light. And she also leaned on young people as a guiding light. One of the things that I found most heartening from my research was it was a group of middle school students who challenged her to think beyond her leadership.